Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna. She's a member of the House Oversight Committee who's been looking into this. Great to have you, Congresswoman Luna.
Thank you for having me back on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. So we're talking about these protests, but what's behind it and the CCP trying to sow division? Right here, I'm looking at a letter that you sent to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent back in September. This man, who's pretty notorious, American-born, citizen of the U.S., ties to the CCP, Mr. Neville Roy Singham. You think he even funded the activists we saw in the L.A. riots over ICE last summer? Where does this stand right now? Because obviously ICE members are front and center of this latest incident here.
Yes, ma'am. I don't think that he was tied to it. We know for a fact that he was tied to it. There's a Monday trail that's been provided, hence why we actually asked him to initially come to Congress. He refused receipt of that letter. So Neville Roy Singham is a known Chinese billionaire. He is not a registered agent of China, although he should be. It's a FARA violation of what he's doing. He spends most of his time actually in China and has been known to funnel efforts and funding into the United States. Regardless of organizations, we know that it's tied to all left-leaning pro-communist organizations that only benefit the CCP. So, for example, during the ICE riots that you saw taking place across this country, we actually were jokingly calling them the Timu riots, where they are handing out Mexican flags, but that is all tied and directly funded by him. And we also know most recently in Minnesota with the anti-ICE riots and really with the Somali fraud investigations that we're seeing and the resistance against that, that's actually also backed by Neville Singham. So at the time when Secretary of State Rubio was a senator and sitting on intelligence, he actually had sent a letter to the then Attorney General asking to hit Neville Singham with FARA violations, had done significant investigations to prove what he was doing, and we are simply following up on that now. Bessent has not responded to us. I know he's a busy guy, but we did have a bipartisan meeting supported by both Democrat and Republican subpoena issued out of oversight to Singham yesterday. And so he will be compelled to come before Congress, and if he does not, we will hold him in contempt.
Awesome breaking news right there. Congresswoman, thank you for sharing that. He is a busy guy. In fact, he today is in Minnesota speaking to the Economic Club. We know from the White House briefing that Treasury Secretary Bessent is also looking into the billions of potential Somali fraud there. And it's not just coming from those learning daycare centers. We're talking HUD, we're talking SNAP, unemployment benefits. We have Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, who now is also trying to say that they've been looking into this. We have a little clip here, though. He says they take fraud very seriously in Minnesota. I'll get your reaction on the flip side.
Are you confident your office has done enough?
Of course, we've done enough, and we're doing more every single day. This is a political matter. This is not a serious thing.
There is a Senator Holmstrom who wants to see the DOJ open an investigation. The schemes raise unavoidable questions about the conduct, potential complicity of the state's highest officials. And the bigger question, too, is how much of Americans' taxpayer dollars went to fund terrorism over in Somalia, Al-Shabaab, which Byron Donalds also on oversight raised as well. Your reaction to all of this, which will come down the road in Minnesota. Tim Walz today is obviously deflecting over the shooting.
Yeah, of course. We actually just yesterday referred both the AG and Tim Walz to the Department of Justice for investigation, obviously obstructing federal law and intentionally turning down what they knew as fraud as a part of their position to protect taxpayers and also prevent fraudulent theft of our American taxpayer dollars. And I actually just today got off the phone with the Department of Justice. They have confirmed receipt of both of those letters, as well as a third that we are sending over on a separate issue. But the point is that the DOJ is taking it seriously. And I do believe that the AG is also on record. I'm actually almost positive that he's on record saying, almost giving a quid pro quo about ignoring the fraud in exchange for support from the Somali community. And also Tim Walz, according to testimony yesterday from some state senators, had actually basically shut down investigations. And so I'm very positive and comfortable in my position. And both those individuals broke federal law, and they will be held accountable by the Department of Justice.
Information. Truth is freedom. is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.